The Russell Historical Society presents the economic impact of the New York Central Railway to the Russell area. The railway station and the New York Central rail link to the outside world made Russell Village the commercial center for the townships of Russell, Winchester, and Osgood. The railway station became the hub for an industrial complex that included the Williams Chemical Company, Walker's Mills, and the Canada Milk Products plant. It was also the location for stockyards, storage tanks, and warehouses for local businesses. There were 25 cheese factories in the Russell area in 1906. With the construction of the railway, farmers were able to bring their cheese boxes from local factories to be shipped off to markets in Ottawa, Montreal, Toronto, and overseas. The photo on the left shows Frost & Wood's farm machinery coming into the station from Smiths Falls. The photo on the right shows local farmers picking up their new farm equipment in the center of the village. John Laux hauled freight from the Russell rail yard to the center of the village, as well as Vars, Metcalfe, Pana, and Kenmore. Before 1900, Concession Street seemed to be a bottomless sea of mud. By May of 1900, gravel was placed from the station to the center of the village. This is the first record of a gravel road in the western part of Russell Township. 3 hotels were built in the center of the village to accommodate commercial travelers. Itinerant dentists would come once a week on the train until Dr. Proudfoot set up his practice in 1904. Harry York would meet the passenger trains and brought the travelers and their luggage to one of the hotels. The commercial hotel had a large display room as well as a good livery stable. The commercial traveler could make the hotel his headquarters and rent a horse and carriage to work the surrounding countryside and towns not served by the railroad. Andrew Walker built a number of mills and storage sheds near the railway station. He had a steam-powered planing mill, a sash and door factory, and a grist mill. One of his buildings was big enough to back in a freight car for loading and unloading. This was one of Russell's biggest industries. During World War I, this factory made ammunition boxes. The buildings burned down in 1941. The Williams Chemical Company was founded by Eccles McCaffrey. It manufactured Dr. Williams' Fly and Insect Destroyer, an insecticide to spray on cattle. Caution was required as heavy spraying could blister a cow's hide. It was shipped from Russell all across Canada. The factory building burned down in 1934 and was replaced by a cement block building. The company ceased operation when Eccles McCaffrey died in 1938. The building became the warehouse for McCaffrey Wholesale, a tobacco and confectionery business owned and managed by George McCaffrey. The company operated from this location near the station until 1954. In 1912, Charles F. MacArthur from Kenmore built a general store and a feed store on Mill Street with R. Morgan Warner as his junior partner. They had built a granary and coal sheds beside the railway station. This general merchandise store was the largest in Russell Township. After MacArthur retired in 1935, Warner continued as sole proprietor for an additional 39 years, for a total of 62 years in the general store business. In 1919, the Ottawa Dairy built Canada Milk Products Plant number 6 on the other side of the track opposite the railway station. This plant produced powdered milk and cream that were shipped by rail. This new plant offered higher prices for the raw milk and forced the local cheese factories to close down. By 1932, the plant in Russell was closed and torn down as Nestle opened their plant in Chesterville, and there wasn't enough milk produced in the area to service both operations. Coal was needed to stoke the kilns at the brick factory and the furnaces of the homes in the area. Almost all the local merchants sold coal: McEwen and Stevenson, MacArthur and Warner, and J. Henry Tweed. John Laux would deliver the coal from the rail yard in his large wagon. In 1918, Imperial Oil built 2 gasoline and oil storage tanks along the railway tracks. By this time, automobiles were becoming the common form of transportation and required gasoline and oil. Imperial Oil contracted John Laux to deliver its products to Russell and the surrounding area. Ironically, he delivered these products by horsepower. The horses were hitched to a wagon or a sleigh depending on the season. In 1911, Dr. McDougall bought the first automobile in Russell Village. In 1913, Don A. MacArthur sold General Motors automobiles. In the early 20s, there were 2 more dealerships in Russell Village. D.M. Robertson sold Fords and T.C. Switzer sold Dodges. Cars were becoming more frequent on the road than horses. By far the most significant industry of the early 1900s was Russell Shale Brick Limited, with its own siding at the eastern end of the village. At its peak, this plant had 125 employees and manufactured up to 65,000 bricks per day. Russell Brick was one of the most durable bricks in the country. The factory closed during World War I. It was sold in 1927, and the buildings were torn down. The New York Central Railway facilitated an industrial boom in the Russell area during the first part of the 20th century. The closing of the railway ended an era of unprecedented growth, and Russell Village became a bedroom community for daily commuters to the city of Ottawa. We hope this whets your interest in visiting our museum, and we look forward to seeing you here in the future.